Hey, everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to StadiaCast, your show, your source for all the Stadia news, anything that you want to know about Google's new video game streaming service. That's where you're going to find that information is right here. I'm Bill. Usually I'm joined by my co-host Lloyd, but he is AFK today, so it's just me. I'm flying solo. And because of that, I'm going to do things a little bit differently. I tried something last week. I don't like the way that it worked out. So what I'm going to do this week is I'm going to treat the show kind of like I treat most of my other shows. All of my other shows are solo shows anyway. So I'm going to treat it like that, which means I don't have Lloyd here to monitor chat a bunch. And I can't monitor chat and look at the camera and make the point that I want to make all at the same time either. So there's almost 100 people here already, and we just hit the live button. You guys are fantastic. I'm sure that chat is going to be flying by, and it's going to be hard for me to keep up, but I'm going to do my best. That being said, I'm going to be talking to the camera, recording the podcast, and then after the show, I will take all of your questions and comments and stuff like that. If there's something that I notice in the middle of the show, I will, of course, respond to it, but I literally I can't respond to everything because it's just me, and I've got to run the show and do everything live, so there you go. All right. Before we get started, if you didn't know, we do record this show live, speaking of live, on Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern over at youtube.com/StadiaCast. So if you're listening to the podcast on your device, that's where you can go watch the live show and hang out with us. Big thank you to all the people who are here live, and if you want to directly support StadiaCast, there's a couple different ways that you can do that. You can go over to anchor.fm/StadiaCast. That's where you can get the audio show. And if you go there, first off, just downloading the show is a huge benefit to us. So please, even if you're never going to listen to it, download it. Download it each and every week. Set it up to automatically download and then delete because maybe you're watching here on the YouTube channel. But downloading it is a huge benefit to both Lloyd and I. It really does help. So you can do that. And then there's also a button there that says support this podcast. You click on that, and for as little as $1, you can help Lloyd and I create future episodes of StadiaCast. And if you're here with us live, if you're here with us live, you can also use the super chat feature to support us and make sure that we see your message. Again, while I've been talking, I see that there's a bunch of super chats that are coming in. You guys are fantastic. Thank you very much for that support. I'm not going to respond to them right now. I will respond to them mostly at the end of the show. So if you want to make sure that I see your message, again, chat is scrolling by pretty quickly. Use that super chat feature. If you don't want to use that super chat feature, that's fine. It means it's less likely that I will see your message, but that doesn't mean that I won't see your message or respond to you. The super chat feature is incredibly useful when you have a full chat because it allows people to make sure that they're heard, and it allows me to focus on the people who are most adamant that they want to be heard. That being said, thank you everybody who watches, whether they support through super chats or the support this podcast link, or if you're just here listening, watching, or sending stickers or whatever. Thank you, everybody. All right, I want to start by talking about strings. There's a whole bunch of strings which are in programming. Strings are this a bunch of information that you can call to. So, and keep in mind, I'm not an engineer, but I do know a little bit of Python that I taught myself from like 5 years ago or something like that. So I'm not a programmer. I'm not an engineer. But my understanding of what strings are is strings are a series of text that you can then type a message, or you can call that string and it will input it someplace else. So basically, it's like a variable. And there's 1,500 of them were pulled out of the APK for the Google Stadia app on the Google Play Store. And I went through all 1,500. I think that I saw all of them, but it was not formatted in the best possible format. So for instance, if you're watching the YouTube video, you can see I've got them up here. It's not the easiest list of text to go through, and there was quite a bit of it. So there are things that I might have missed, and if I missed it, then we'll address that later. But I pulled out the ones that I found to be the most interesting to me, and I wanted to talk about these things. So I pulled those out and I put them in a document that we're going to take a look at together. And let me go back up to the beginning. Thank you very much for the super chats that are coming in. I will respond to those at the end of the show. All right, let's talk about these strings. So the first string that I noticed, and these are in alphabetical order because that's the order that they were in the paste bin. But it says a toast notification informing the user that capture functionality is unavailable on mobile and suggests playing on a television or computer where capture functionality works, shown when the user presses the capture button on a Stadia controller. All right. I find this to be interesting, and the reason I find it to be interesting is because this indicates that if you're playing on your phone, or maybe if I'm playing on my iPad, then certain functionality will be limited. And I'm trying to figure out the reason why. So let's say that I'm a streamer and I'm streaming over on my YouTube channel, and I say, all right, everybody, I'm going to be out of town for the next week. I'll be staying at my parents' house on the other side of the country for Christmas or whatever, and I want to continue to stream. Well, I could, in theory, be able to do that by hooking a controller up to my phone and using my phone as my screen, maybe having a laptop off to this, or I'm sorry, like my iPad off to the side. I don't know why I would use my phone in this case, but it doesn't matter. Having something else off to the side that I can see text chat on from the people who are watching my stream. But apparently I won't be able to do that. In fact, I won't be able to capture at all if I'm on my phone. And I'm trying to envision why Google would restrict that. And I'm coming up blank. I can't really think of anything. So if you have ideas for why Google would limit the capture functionality, that capture button won't work when you're on mobile, I'm very curious as to why that is. Maybe when you hit capture, it has to actually record it locally and then upload it to Google, in which case they're trying to avoid extra data. That's the only thing I can think of. Anyway, That's the first string that jumped out at me, and we've got a lot of these to go through, so I'm going to have to go a little bit faster than that. The next one, it says, after setting up a Chromecast, look for the linking code on the screen and press these buttons in sequence from left to right. After a few moments, the controller will link with the TV and be ready to play. So that basically is telling us how are we going to be able to connect our controller to the TV. And we're going to come back to this. And actually, let me see if I can find it. TV. Let's see, where is it? Where's the next thing? Okay. And then I'm assuming after you do that, it'll say from now on, turning on your Stadia controller will launch Stadia on this TV. This could take up to 30 seconds. I think that this is a very important piece of information here. This indicates why the Stadia controller won't wirelessly work with a bunch of devices. The reasoning for that is because they want it so that you can easily turn on your TV, your Chromecast. The Chromecast doesn't have a power button, right? It's just always on. And when you hit the button on your Stadia controller, it's going to say, hey, you want to play Stadia on this TV. So I think that that is the reason why we are not getting wireless on the controller across the board, because they want to make sure that when you hit that button, it knows which device you want to play on. Now, later on down the road, maybe they will have a way to select all of the devices that you have in an app. I'm not sure. Somebody, before we started the show, somebody was asking, Bill, what controller are you going to use when you're playing on Chrome in your studio? And I got to be honest, I'm probably just going to use an Xbox controller. I've got a blue Xbox One controller over here, and that's probably going to be my main Stadia controller. And when I play Stadia in the other room, that'll probably be when I use the Stadia controller. That being said, maybe not. Maybe I will end up buying an extra Stadia controller and an extra Chromecast and plugging them in here. I need to experience it first before I make that kind of a decision, if that makes sense. But I think that kind of explains an important piece of information that we didn't have before. All right, the next item on here, it says an item is accessible to you because a family member shared it. So it looks like I'm going to be able to share my games with members of my family. Now, when I talked to John Justice, he said that family sharing is not going to be available at launch, and they haven't announced it yet, but it is something that they are working on and want to have ready down the road. But it looks like we're going to be able to share our games, and I think that's awesome. That's one of the great things about the PS4 is the ability for me to buy a game, and both me and my son can play the game at the same time on our PS4s because they're both my PS4. I think that that's fantastic, and I hope that Google does something very, very similar. Speaking of this, there was something about concurrent. Let me see, family. Where is it? A button label that launches an external site that allows you to create a family group. That's not the other string that I wanted. There's another one. Where is it? Oh, dang it. Oh, I must not have grabbed it. All right. Well, there was a string that I saw in the paste bin that was specifically about concurrence. Here we go. Message used in the family max concurrency modal. So, or over here it says modal pop-up indicating that family max concurrency was reached. So there's going to be a limit to the number of people who can play at the same time. We don't know what that limit is, and we don't know when this is coming out, but I do think that that's important information to know as well. All right, the next piece that I think is really good, but that comes with some caveats, is do you want to request a refund? So they have they have two strings here that both answer the question. One is a yes and the other's a no. Do you want to request a refund? That sounds great. until you realize that there was something else in here about refunds. Here we go. Oh no, that's not it. Where was it? Oh shoot. Refund. I'm looking for it live because I guess I didn't paste it in here. There was something on here that says by using this, it probably wasn't saying refund, by using this particular, by clicking yes, you're giving up your right to a refund. And I'm guessing that you probably have to click that button before you play any game. So if you buy a game, you'll probably be able to refund it. But if you buy a game and play a game, my guess is you won't be able to refund it. And I don't know where that string went, and I apologize for not having it here. Anyway. All right, more strings. Body copy for notification informing user that they're no longer allowed to play this game per game-controlled rule set and community standards. So you can be banned from a specific game if you break the community standards. And that is very, very important. I think that this is good as long as Google doesn't abuse it. And I do want to talk about that specifically because, okay, Markiplier, who I guess is a huge YouTuber. I've heard of his name before. I don't think I've ever seen one of his streams. And I watched a video of his this week because his community is currently going through this issue that they are running into where he was playing a game and he was giving the community the ability to choose, hey, do you want me to do this? Do you want me to do X? Or do you want me to do Y? And basically he said, hold up like a red paddle with like a red emote if you want me to do this, and hold up a blue paddle, another one of his emotes, if you want me to do the other thing. And so people were spamming those, and he was looking at them and saying, okay, it looks like the Reds won it. So let's go ahead and do that. And then Google banned hundreds of those accounts for emote spamming. Now, those accounts reached out, the people who own those accounts, and let me be clear, Google banned not just their ability to chat, not just their YouTube account, but they closed their Google accounts, which is way too much of an overreaction. Now, to be fair, I have this is just what Markiplier is saying. And I have no reason to doubt that he is being 100% truthful. I have no reason to doubt that the people who are reporting this to him are being 100% truthful. But whenever you have, there's three sides to every argument. There's this side A, side B, and then the truth is usually somewhere in the middle. And I don't have any reason to doubt this, but for Google to just ban these guys and delete their Google accounts is absolutely insane to me. Like, people use their Gmail accounts as, like, they use them for work, they use them to pay their bills, they use them to sign up for everything. Can you imagine if you had to go to the bank and say, I can't get into my Gmail account, so therefore I can't change my password? Like, all of that stuff is a huge problem. And for Google to overreact like this just puts a real bad taste in the mouth of a lot of people who are looking forward to streaming on Stadia. So what I would recommend is just avoid emotes at all on YouTube until this kind of gets worked out. And if I find out more, I will of course let you guys know. Anyway, don't break the community standards. You can lose your stuff and you can get banned. And I feel like this is a good thing as long as it's done the right way and as long as Google has people do it and not an algorithm. You should never have an algorithm close somebody's account for you. That should be a decision that is made by a person. And the idea that there's all of these accounts who have been closed because they were doing exactly what the streamer asked them to do, spamming emotes, I really don't think that that's a bad idea. William Millard is trying to tell me you can use Control F to search within Google Docs. I know. I'm an old school. Like I looked. I just didn't find it. I'm not sure what it is that I was looking for. Anyway, I don't know what word to search for. Anyway, okay. I can't look at chat right now. I've got to not get distracted. So this next part is a link for the same thing. It says body of message to user explaining that they cannot sign in because their account was disabled for abuse. Again, awesome. I think it's great that you can ban people. I'm all for banning people for being jerks. Maybe it will make people not be jerks, especially because when you buy a game on Stadia, you don't own it. And I know that there's this whole argument around the idea that there's this whole argument around the fact that you don't own your games. I know. But maybe the fact that you don't have a physical copy that you can then play, maybe people will behave better. I doubt it, but maybe if they can get banned for not being nice, then I think that that's a good thing. Anyway, Kyle FTW in chat says there's a super chat way up there you missed. I missed a bunch of them. I'm going to go back and check those out at the end of the show, just so you know. All right. We've got another string. Oh my God, I really got to get going. Body for the controller not vibrating screen telling the user what to do if their controller is not vibrating. This is great because this confirms that the controller does vibrate. I was asking about this recently. Somebody had sent me a link of somebody who had used it at either PAX or Gamescom, and they talked about it vibrating, but now we know for sure that it does vibrate because it's in these strings right here. Let's see, button label for that launches an external site that allows the user to create a family group. Again, this shows that we're going to be having family groups. Button text on click brings up some UI where the user can request a refund. All right, we already kind of talked about refunds. This next thing it says is by clicking agree, you consent to the immediate performance. This is the thing that I was looking for earlier, and it doesn't say refund on it. That's why I couldn't find it. But it says by clicking agree, you consent to the immediate performance of the contract and acknowledge that except for services, you thereby lose your right of withdrawal. Stadia terms of service and privacy notice. What does this mean? Okay. So you, up until the point where performance begins, this is legalese nonsense. And I'm a little familiar with this because I do a Nintendo show, and they've run into problems with this over in Europe a bunch. So Stadia is saying, look, or the way that it works is you have the right to ask for a refund up until performance of a contract has begun. Okay? And in this case, by clicking agree, you are saying performance has begun. So that is basically saying by clicking agree, you are saying I've started playing this game and now I no longer can return it. Now, in some countries in Europe, that's still not good enough. In some countries in Europe, you still need to be able to return a game after a certain amount of time. And all of the video game companies, the platform holders, they've all run afoul. They've all run into issues with this right of withdrawal policy in certain European countries. So Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, they've all run into these issues where they've been sued by the government of European countries because they're not letting people return games that they are unhappy with. This is in the Google Play Store. I'm assuming that at some point Google is going to get sued by one of these European companies over not allowing a refund to happen. So only time will tell. We'll see what happens. So there you go. Let's move on. Can't save your capture. The game is restricted in this scene. I think that this is very interesting. They're basically saying, look, there are going to be some games where you're unable to create a capture. And the reason that you're unable to create a capture is because the developer or the publisher has decided that they don't want this particular scene to be captured and shared out on YouTube. Now, why would somebody do that? Well, they might do it because there is music that they don't want people to listen to without paying for it. So that there are cutscenes that they don't want people to see without paying for it. There are gameplay elements. Well, I'm going to say it's probably less about gameplay elements. It's usually more along the lines of cutscenes and music and stuff like that. And they don't want you to be able to capture that stuff. Now, I think that this is good because it lets people know where they stand. Like, people are going to know ahead of time, oh, okay, I can't do that because of this, rather than me capturing it, sharing it, and then getting a strike on my account, or probably not a strike, but they'll probably make me demonetize it and ask me to take it down or something like that. I think it's better to be upfront with everybody and say, hey, look, this is the issue. Make sure that you don't do this, or we won't capture it. Now, as a streamer, this makes me a little nervous because I'm not sure what will happen. Let's say I'm streaming a game on Google Stadia and I'm playing through and I'm having fun, and I'm talking to chat, and then suddenly it goes black, and they can no longer see what exactly it is that's happening. Can they still hear my voice? Is the audio gone? What is happening to my stream? I don't know. It's good that it's built in, because now I can't break the rules unknowingly, but I wonder what this says about streaming. And in chat, Killajan is saying PS4 does this too, and he's right, they do, but I can get around that easily just by hooking up a capture card. And I can get around this easily by hooking up a capture card and doing it that way. But I just wonder what's going to happen when that particular thing happens. All right, let's move on. Chat group consists of the user and one other person. It is a direct conversation between the two. Chat group consists of the user's current in-game team. Chat group is of unknown type or is not being used. Chat invite list refreshed by text chat invite notification. All right, so it looks like we will be able to talk to other people one-on-one. We will also be able to talk to the group that we're in game with, whoever's on our team. So if I'm on the red side, I can talk with the red side. And then it says chat group is of unknown type. I don't know what that means. And then there's also party stuff in here. So let me bring that up, party, and see if I can find it. Where is it? It's not in here. I'm sure it'll come up eventually. You know what? I'll look in here. There's also, we know that party stuff is happening. No, here it is right here. Notification for the user that they've joined a party voice chat channel and their mic is unmuted. Okay. Notification that lets user know that they accepted a party invitation. So we are going to have a party system. Is it going to happen at launch? I don't know. And here's why I don't know. There was another thing that says it's coming soon. Where is it? I'm trying to find it. Because I read through this and I didn't grab everything. All right, I can't find it. There was something in there that said that, party chat is coming soon, but we don't have it yet. Only time will tell if that's going to happen. And now I've lost my place. Where was I in this list? Oh my God, there's so much stuff for me to talk about. All right, here we go. This one has me excited. Are you guys ready for this one? You know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to tell you about it right now. I'm going to take a break on the audio podcast. You're going to hear from a sponsor. And when we come back, I'm going to tell you why I'm so excited. All right, we are back, and we've got this string that says collection of classic old school games. This is part of a bunch of strings that we're talking about genres. It looks like they have the ability to do collections. Now, what does this mean? I'm thinking like Mega Man collection, the Konami collection, all that stuff. I think that that's very, very cool, and I'm excited for this. There's not really much else to say about it except what classic / old school games do you want to come to Stadia? That's my question for you. And I'm telling you right now, you're not going to get any Nintendo stuff. So don't even ask for Nintendo stuff. Don't ask. It's not happening. What other classic old school games do you want coming to Stadia? Let me know. If I get some messages about it, excuse me, I'll talk about it at the end of the show. All right. Here's the next string. Explanation to use that because their session is expiring, they should start the game again from the app. I don't know what this means. This makes me a little nervous. Makes me just a little bit nervous. And here's the reason it makes me a little bit nervous. When I start playing on Stadia, is it going to say, okay, you can play for the next 2 hours and then you're done? And then you have to restart the game again? Like, that's bad. That's janky. That's not fun. I don't want that to happen. Why else would a session expire? That is what I'm wondering about. If you have ideas, let me know. We've got another one. Explanatory body copy to inform the user that time restrictions are in effect and that bedtime has been defined by a parent using family controls. I absolutely love it. They're saying in chat, maybe because you walked away. I think there was another string that dealt with the fact that you've been inactive for a while. But maybe this is part of it. All right. Bedtime. You can set a bedtime for your family. So my son has Stadia. I can say at 8 o'clock p.m., stop working. I love it. Nintendo does it. PlayStation, I don't think, does it as well. I have no idea about Xbox, but I've heard they have very good parental controls. So there's that. I'm happy that we're going to have good parental controls built into Stadia. All right, how many more of these do I have? Oh my God, I had another page, and we're already at 30 minutes. Let's go fast. I'm going to have to lightning round. Well, let me look at the show notes real quick and see what else I wanted to talk about. Okay, I can do this. I got this. We're good. All right, explanatory description of the expiration of a limited amount of playtime has been defined by using parental family control. So this goes along the same exact the same lines as the last thing. Not only can I define a bedtime, but I can say you can play for X amount of time. Like maybe you can have 2 hours a day to play on Stadia, and after that you're locked out. And I think that's really good. The next thing, I already talked about that one. This is great. The game can be played by more than one player in a single browser. So that means split screen gaming, I'm assuming. So me and somebody sitting next to me, we sit down and we're playing in a single browser, and we are both playing the game and it's split screen. And here's one of the fantastic things about Google Stadia is because, one of the limitations of current hardware is generally when you go from full screen to split screen, now you have to render everything in the game twice. And if you're rendering everything twice, that's a lot more overhead. The game has trouble doing that. And what they usually do is they lower the frame rate in order to adjust for that. On Stadia, they don't have to worry about that because they can just have two different blades rendering that, putting it together, and then sending you that 60 frames per second in both sides of the split screen. So I think that that's awesome, and I'm really looking forward to that. Here it says, games that allow players to play on different video game hardware simultaneously. I'm guessing that this means different controllers like ESO. So if I'm playing Elder Scrolls Online and I have a controller and I'm playing that, and then I want to set that down and start typing something or grab a mouse, currently I can do that on the PC. Okay? Like it works great on the PC. I can just set down my controller and start using my mouse and keyboard if I want, and then pick the controller back up. And this looks like to be an indicator that's going to be in the store that says, hey, this is one of those games that lets you play with a mouse and keyboard or a controller all at the same time. And I think that that's good as well. This next string says keyboard and mouse can be used as input for this game. That's great because, I don't know that that's great, but what I mean to say is what that indicates to me is that not every game will support keyboard and mouse. I'm assuming every game is going to support controller, but every game might not support keyboard and mouse. And so you want to know that if you don't have a controller, if you're a keyboard and mouse player and you're just buying these games on your Chromebook and playing through that, you're going to want to know if you can play it with a keyboard and mouse or if you have to go out and buy a controller. And it's good that it's indicating this here. Here we go. This is very interesting. A label indicating that a video clip could not be saved because their capture storage is full. So apparently, we are going to have a certain amount of storage that we can use for capture, and then that's it. So how's this going to work? Well, I assume what will happen is every time I hit that capture button, it's going to capture a certain amount of gameplay, and it'll go into my capture storage. And then maybe at a computer or on a phone or something like that later on, I can then grab those clips, put them together, and post them out as a YouTube video, and then delete those clips from my capture storage so that it frees it up for the next set of captures. It makes a lot of sense to me. There's also a label here indicating that a video clip was saved, but it was truncated due to some of the content being media blocked. This is what I was talking about earlier. You hit the capture button, it's going to capture what it's allowed to capture, and anything that it's not allowed to capture, it's not going to. Then there's a label indicating that a video clip was saved, but the user is almost out of storage for clips. So that's kind of the same thing. All right. If you are worried about data caps, Google has your back. It's not as good as it should be. Data caps are ridiculous and should be gone and obliterated completely. But I can't talk about the world that we should have. I can only talk about the world that we have. And right now, some people have data caps. I'm lucky that I don't. Knock on wood. But it says here, limit your data usage to 4.5 gigabits per hour. Visual quality will be capped at 720p resolution. So you get to decide how much data you're going to be using. All right? That's a great thing. I think that that's fantastic. I still wish that it wasn't an issue at all. Our servers, this is probably the most important string in the whole thing. Why didn't you talk about it until now, Bill? Because it starts with an O, and these were alphabetical. All right. So our servers in your area can't support any more players at the moment. Please try again in a few minutes. All right. People see this and they are going to immediately rocket to the doom and gloom. They're going to be saying, oh my God, there's going to be queues to play. And I do think that there will be queues to play on launch day when on November 19th. When once the newness wears off, people will go back to their old routines and they'll be less likely to be playing every minute of the day. The queues will go away. That's going to come right back when it launches again in February. I'm assuming February, based on the fact that we get 3 months of Pro. All right, it's going to come right back in February, and so when it launches in 2020 and everybody is able to play, we're going to run into queues again. And then once the newness wears off, it'll go back to normal. And this is something that, as somebody who's played a lot of MMOs, I'm just used to it. You know, World of Warcraft, they recently brought out World of Warcraft Classic. And on day one, I went to log in, and the queue was hours. It was hours. I had to wait for hours to play. And then once I got in, there were so many people there that I couldn't do anything. Like I had a quest to go kill like 8 wolves or something, and I could not get to a wolf before it died instantaneously because 500 people threw an ice bolt at it. It was impossible. So the next day, that wasn't an issue anymore. The queue was maybe 15 minutes and then it was gone. And then now, today, like a month later, I can log in whenever I want. So our servers in your area can't support any more players at the moment. Please try again in a few minutes. I do think that's too bad that we're going to have queues, but it's also expected, and I am not surprised. And I also don't think it's the end of the world, because I don't think that we'll have queues once the newness wears off and people go back to their regular routines. All right. Here's the party thing that I tried to talk about earlier. It says parties are for playing games and chatting together. This is the text on the banner informing that we will soon release the parties feature. So it looks like the parties feature is not coming at launch, but it will come later. For those of you who don't usually play on console and you're like, what exactly is a party feature? So on PlayStation, I'm sure it's on Xbox as well, but on PlayStation, basically a party means that me and you and Steve and Jeff and Lloyd and John Justice, who we're still waiting to hear back about that interview, John. We could all be in a party together and talking to each other through voice chat, even though we're all playing different games. And that's basically what makes party different from regular voice chat. And it seems like maybe based on this wording that the parties feature is coming later on. Okay, that's cool. I think most people will just end up with Discord anyway. They'll just use Discord, especially if they're at a computer. Now, if they're on the TV, then they'll just be talking to the people who are playing the same game. All right, let's see. Play with high quality graphics up to 4K resolution. Data usage might reach 20 gigabytes per hour, Stadia Pro only. This right here is very important because there's so many people that have asked over and over, how much data does Stadia use? Well, here you go. Up to 20 gigabytes per hour. If you have a data cap, then that's not for you, and it doesn't have to be for everyone. So I just wanted to let people know about that. The Chromecast Ultra isn't ready to use with Stadia, but an update is on the way. Please use the Chromecast Ultra that came with your Stadia controller for now. This one bugs me. I really hope, obviously what this means is that the Chromecasts, like I have a Chromecast Ultra in the other room. That one probably needs a firmware update in order to work with Stadia. So, therefore, when the new one comes, I'm going to have to swap them out so that I can use it because I don't want to have to wait for a firmware update to play. But that means that I won't be able to bring the other Chromecast and plug it in downstairs and play Stadia downstairs because I have to wait for the firmware. So I'm really hoping that the firmware comes quickly. Knock on wood. All right, last thing from the strings, a whimsical string that actually means nothing, a well-known joke amongst gamers. So there you go. Did I hit every single one? Absolutely not. There were 1,500 strings to go through, and I did not hit them all. If there were certain ones that you felt that I needed to talk about and I didn't talk about it, let me know. All right? Okay, I already talked about the Markiplier thing. Let's talk about Steam. Apparently, Steam is cooking up some competition for Google Stadia. At least that's what it seems like. It looks like somebody's looking at some Steam code, and it has a hint in there that Steam may be making a Stadia-like cloud gaming service. So this comes to us from The Verge, and they are referencing a tweet from @SteamDB, and it says, Valve is working on Steam Cloud Gaming according to partner site code update. Partners will need to sign an addendum to their terms. Could this be a competitor to Google Stadia? And I'm not going to go into the details of the data mining that got this, but what I am going to talk about is this idea that Steam could be a competition, or could be competition or a competitor to Stadia. And here's my thoughts on it. Steam and Google have two different problems to solve. All right? Steam has a massive user base, tons and tons of games. People have full libraries. They're very bad at broadcasting stuff. And I know that they can broadcast stuff on your home network. I've used it. It works okay. Doesn't work great. Okay? I've tried using Steam Broadcast, which was their competitor to Twitch that they launched and then ignored completely. I tried using that, and every single time that I've tried to do that, it's just been a disaster. It's been a disaster. It just doesn't work. I try and watch, and it's all stuttery, and it doesn't work. And, maybe it's the person who is doing it, but here's the thing. Steam, they don't have the experience with compressing video. That's where Google's experience is. Now, Google has the complete opposite problem to solve. They are really, really good at compressing video and sending a low bitrate stream to somebody in order for them to have a good experience. They're really good at that because they've been doing it for years with YouTube. But they just don't have the library yet. So, Steam on one hand and Stadia on the other, they're both going their own way. And it seems like this cloud gaming is going to be a very, very competitive market. And we don't know who's going to win. We don't know. I think Google is in the right place to be the winner when it comes to cloud gaming because of their experience with the algorithm that they use to compress video and send it to us quickly. And that's where the rubber meets the road. That's where we get the egg on the pavement, if you allow me to make up a phrase that doesn't mean anything. That's where we actually get the thing that we want. We actually get to play the game and enjoy it. Sure, Steam has bigger libraries, without a doubt. Okay? But I don't think that they have what Google has. And only time will tell. So we're just going to have to wait in order to find out. All right. So those are the stories that I wanted to talk about today. I also have, by the way, there is now an official Discord. The official Discord for Google Stadia is discord.gg/Stadia. But I personally think that you should join my Discord instead. Go to runjumpstomp.com/Discord because there's about 700 people in there and they're all awesome. And the official Discord is very quickly going to be flooded with just so many people. It's going to be a hard place to have a conversation, I think. That's just me, though. I joined it. I actually joined it before it was an official server. So if you're looking for the official Discord server, now you know where to get there. But I still think you should go to mine instead. Or in addition to, not instead. There's plenty of Discords for everybody. All right. Now is the part of the show where we talk about crowd play. That's basically where I respond to things that people have said. So first off, Joel sent in an email. They said, I think pricing for new games on Stadia will stay consistent at around $60 for now. As you stated, the price of a game has remained fairly steady for decades, and publishers want to recoup development costs quickly. One interesting thing to consider is that pricing in Japan is quite different. Every game is released at its own price point. For example, Dragon Quest XI-S had an MSRP of $88, Breath of the Wild $76, Mario Odyssey $65. I would not be surprised if a highly anticipated game eventually tries this here. How many would cancel a game like Cyberpunk 77 over $10? I don't see that happening soon, though. That's very interesting. I hope that we get a standard price, though. I like to know about how much games cost. Killajan is saying, where is the pro discounts? We'll find that out about once it launches, although I do think that they should have told us about this stuff now already. Lars Rai Jeppesen commented on a YouTube channel or YouTube video that I posted in response to me talking about the Google Stadia app. He said the app is developed using Flutter, which is cross-platform. Therefore, the iOS app will look and work very similarly, which is very good to know. Michael Mordecai commented on a YouTube video, and they said, hey, did you hear that PS5 is supposed to be at 10.1 teraflops for the GPU, while Stadia will be at 10.7? I did not hear that. However, I feel like there's too many people who put too much faith in the numbers. The thing to remember that puts Stadia beyond everything else, in my opinion, is the fact that it is not a machine that you buy and bring home and are stuck with. It is something that can continually change and evolve over time, and Google can use a bunch of different things to bring that together and make it better, at least in my opinion. So I think that it was one of Google's biggest mistakes was touting the 10.7 teraflops. I don't think that's important. That's not important. I know that it's important to some people, but to those people, you're just going to be better off getting a computer at home because that's going to give you the best experience. Alex Raleigh says, Google has put too much time in and money into Stadia to pull the plug in a year. The fear that I have is that Stadia is the new Google Plus, where they will flail around desperately to prop up their creation. YouTube integration comes to mind. Give up, let it languish for a few years, and finally put it out of its misery. And if that happens, we don't know what happens to our access to our games. All right, Alex, you're not wrong. Google has said that they are in this for the long haul, and you will have access to your games as long as the service is running. And I anticipate that the service is going to be running for a very, very long time. That's just how I feel about it. All right, so that's it for the show, except that we got a bunch of super chats that I want to respond to. Let me bring those up on the screen real quick. We'll go back up to the beginning. So where is this? Here we go. So first off, Joel Thompson. Heath sent a super sticker. Thank you very much, Joel. That happened before the show even started. William Millard says, appreciate all the great information. Fabian Winkler says, Bill flied solo today and did a little plane emote. Careful with the emotes, though. Thank you very much for the super chat. Matt says, sends in a super chat, and they said, wouldn't it be a great mic drop moment if the last AMA question, they answer, when is shipping going to start? And they say, how about right now? Oh, gosh, I almost forgot, guys. There was something else that I wanted to talk about, and I've been wanting to talk about it for a while. You know, the AMA that we've been discussing? Somebody who's actually a listener, they come to the show quite often. Their name is New Diggity is their name. They said the big question, when does it ship? They were asking Andriy Doronichev, who, I'm sorry if I butchered your name, and his response was starting November 19th. So, look, I think we now have confirmation, and we can all stop asking that question. When does it ship? It ships on the 19th. That's when it's going to start shipping. So if you were one of the first people to order, then it's going to ship on the 19th. You will get your email on the 19th. And on the 19th, you will use that email with that code, create your name, get your founders, and start playing then. So there you go. We now have confirmation about that. All right, let's go back to the super chats. Victor Del Maestro sent in a birthday cake super sticker. Thank you very much, because I had a birthday 2 days ago. I appreciate it. Ryan Peck super chatted, strings for the win. Johan Blomgren sent in a super chat with no comment, but thank you very much for the support. Klaus says, hey, Bill, you could go by the Stadia source article. They sifted and organized the strings by categories. I'm sure that they did. I wanted to do my own research. Let's see. William Millard says you can use Control F to search within Google Docs. I know. And then finally, Adam Henrik sent in a hilarious pigeon with a fist bump. So I appreciate that. Thank you all for listening to the show, and for the people who come to the YouTube chat. If you're here at the live show, we're going to keep going, but this is the end of the podcast, all right? So now that we're at the end of the podcast, I'm going to say goodbye to all of the audio listeners and all of the people who are here at the YouTube channel. Hang out for a little bit. All right, follow the show on Twitter at StadiaCast. Follow me at Run Jump Stomp, and my co-host Lloyd, who's not here today, follow him at Dasme. Be sure to use that hashtag StadiaCast so that we can find your tweets. Join the StadiaCast Discord over at runjumpstomp.com/Discord. While you're joining Discords, Lloyd has his community Discord over at res.tv/Discord. And the music that you are about to hear is zirconstudios.bandcamp.com. Somebody asked me the other day, are the intros and outros necessary? It's a podcast, dude. That's how it's done. See you next time. All right, there we go. Thank you very much. You guys are fantastic. I appreciate it. Did I do okay without Lloyd? Let's get some music playing. Save that and hit play. I miss Lloyd too. Vaxer, 59 frames per second. You missed the Stadia cat? You received a replacement CC with an expiration date that differs from my order. Anyone know if there will be a problem? I haven't seen any way to update it. I'm sure that there's a way to update it, Darren, but if you can't find it, I would call Google as soon as you can. Brian Robertson, I don't think that the shipping on the 19th is actually that big of a deal. The issue is that they didn't communicate that to us to begin with. If they had communicated that to us to begin with, then everybody would have been fine with it. But they were just so kind of, I don't know, secretive about it that they left us in the dark and we just all assumed. We all assumed things. This is the fun part of the show. The rest I can listen to in my car. This is the part of the show that I like more myself because I get to chat with you guys. William Millard, I don't disagree with you. It would be nice if we were able to play with it on the 19th, but I don't think it's as big a deal as everyone's making it out to be. Spider Show. Bill, I don't know if you saw my previous comment. Google reinstated the banned accounts according to their statement from Business Insider, I believe. I will believe that when I hear it from Markiplier. Because right now, hearing it from Business Insider, I don't know that I trust that. But thank you for letting me know. Matt's Top Tech, I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying it's not that big of a deal. And the reason why it's not that big of a deal is come November, not November, come January, nobody's going to remember. I mean, yes, we'll remember that we didn't get to play it on launch day, but you're not going to care anymore. You know? Oh, it came from Google on Twitter. Okay. If you could tweet that to me, Spider, that would be awesome. I would like to see that. I will let him know. In fact, I'm going to send him a picture right now. I'll take a picture of your chat. I'm going to text him. There you go. There you go. I'll send that straight over to Lloyd. Let me mark it up. Well, that was dumb. Save, send. It's not like missing your wedding day. It's not. It's completely different. Alex, I have not had a chance to read that. I can't, I just, like, I don't get to see everything that happens, but I haven't read it yet. What is it, Games Radar? Let me check it out. Let's see. All right. There, I found it. I will read it later. Still no news about Stadia Connect before launch. 9 days to go, I know. What's there to be nervous about, Jerome? It's not going to change anything. Lloyd replied, he said, me too. He misses you guys. Being nervous about it isn't going to change anything, so just relax, man. You'll be better. You'll feel better if you just relax. Like, that's how I'm dealing with the whole John Justice thing. I like, they told me, Bill, John wants to be on the show again. I said, awesome. When? And they said, Halloween. I was like, great. I will clear my calendar. I cleared my calendar, and then they said, John has to cancel. This was on Halloween. John has to cancel because of something, or postpone. And I said, okay, will we be doing, if we're postponing, will we be doing this before or after the launch? And Alice replied, John wants to be on your show before launch. I was like, okay, cool. Let me know when he's free. And I haven't heard anything. You tweeted it to me? Thanks, man. What's the most important question you think will get answered at the AMA? I don't know. I'm trying to think about I don't know. What would be the best question? Like, you know, let me switch screens. I'm going to look at my questions that I've written. Oh, I got to switch this. Best question to get answered. Well, we already know that there's going to be a queue. I don't know. Like, maybe will Stadia support non-standard resolutions like ultra-wide monitors? Or are they going to have black bars on the side? I think for a lot of people, that's kind of a big deal. Well, not for a lot of people. Because we already have an answer to a lot of this stuff from those strings. Will all games be required to have controller support? I don't know. There's just too many questions. I don't know which ones would be the best one. I think that depends on the person. Each person is going to look at things differently. Mic drop, when there's a bunch of games we didn't tell you about available now, I think that would be amazing. Okay, well, the last time it worked was there was an AMA, and then immediately after the AMA, John came on my show. So hopefully that's going to happen, but like, I have schedules. I have things that I have to do. As much as I enjoy this is not my job. So it's tough for me to just drop everything and talk to John. I just wish we would get a schedule, like a date ahead of time. You still want Final Fantasy 14 on Stadia? Matt, I agree 100%. I want Final Fantasy 14 on Stadia. And now that PlayStation has said you guys can do all the crossplay you want, there's no reason why they won't, I'm sure. Yoshi P has said that he wants it available in other places, but basically the platform holders were getting in the way. Alex, here's a question for you. How do you think Rockstar and others will deal with the fact that Stadia doesn't allow their launchers? Um, well, you don't need their launchers to play the game. That doesn't mean that they won't have accounts. So, like, Ubisoft has their Ubisoft Plus or whatever it's called. Kalareth, I did not see that anywhere. Well, now everybody knows your name, Matt. See, Happy Cloud Gamer, you're worried. Don't be worried. Just relax. Everything's gonna be fine. We're gonna be playing games in 9 days. All right? Well, most of us. I need to refill. And then once Stadia's out, you guys will be too busy playing games to hang out with me anymore. See you later, Jem. It was good to see you again. What's stopping Fortnite from being a launch title on Stadia? When would you expect it to come? Doesn't Google already work closely with Epic Games and their Unreal Engine? JC, yes, we know that Google is working closely with Epic Games on the Unreal Engine to make sure that the Unreal Engine completely supports Stadia. There is no reason that Fortnite can't come to Stadia. I anticipate it will. Whereas other platforms need to get as many great titles at this time of year as possible for the Christmas season, Stadia doesn't fit that mold, so I can't see big announcements. I still think that we're going to get some announcements. Bowser 13, Guilt is a day one buy for me. It's a day one buy for me as well. Great info on strings. Want to see Ark come to Stadia. Well, thank you very much for the super chat there, Matt. I was talking to my son yesterday, and he was asking about Ark. Now, I have not played that game, but isn't that the one where you start out naked and you have to eat and then, like, poop on the beach and stuff? And then fight dinosaurs eventually? Okay. I was just checking. Thank you for the confirmation. Will you be able to stream using StadiaCast account if you sign up Stadia with your personal account? Killajan, I don't know. That's for me, that's the most important question, but I know that for most people that doesn't really matter. Yeah, a lot of people were asking that, Eric. I don't know if that's the case. Are you forming clans in Destiny 2 to play on Stadia? Yes, I am going to make a clan for. I don't think it'll be called StadiaCast. I mean, it'll either be well, I don't want to say what it'll be called because then somebody will steal it. James, there are reports of them making VR for it, but those are reports. People just make stuff up all the time. I believe that they have said specifically that they don't plan on doing anything VR for the extendable future. Extensible, not extendable. Have you seen the Worm game leak? I did see the worm game leak. That's super easy to fake. Super easy to fake. So that's why I didn't really talk about it. And for those of you who haven't seen it, it's a screen or a photograph of somebody's TV with the Stadia UI, and you can see Red Dead Redemption up on the top, and then in the bottom left it has Worm Game or something, and it's highlighted in orange. And they're like, look, we're getting Worm Game free with Pro. Does that mean it's not real? No, I'm just saying it's easy to fake, and so I didn't want to talk about it on the show, but I can talk about it now. Alex, that would be fantastic. You may just need to be a partner to unlock streaming to your brand channel. Extra set of rules. I don't think that would be. I don't think that would happen, Eric. And here's the reason. YouTube benefits from people streaming on their platform. They benefit immensely. So they don't want to be only partners. Chat on video is frozen, unpaused. It's the chat on the video is only the super chats. Like, you can see that it's not frozen because it's the fist bumps is dancing. John says, I don't see EA games on Stadia. EA wants their games on Origin. I disagree completely. First off, EA just partnered with Steam to bring their games back to Steam. And secondly, we saw when Phil Harrison was sitting in that giant white room and all of the cloud of publishers were floating around him, EA was on there. I'm sure EA games are coming to Stadia. And I'm sure that we'll have the EA access the same way that we're going to have the Ubisoft Plus or whatever it's called, Uplay Plus. EA wasn't supposed to be on live, but it backed out at the last second pretty much. Uplay Plus, thank you. While that may be true, I can't speak to whether or not that's true. Google is not on live. Anybody who doesn't want to bring their games to Stadia is saying no to free money. In my opinion. I think it's going to be very, very big in the industry. And the reason why it's going to be, we are not allowed to solicit for buddy passes here, James. Sorry. And the reason why it's going to be big is not going to be apparent until next year. Next year, when it's free for everybody and you guys can buy a game without having to buy anything else, then it's going to be apparent why it's going to be so huge. By the way, if you guys could do me a favor and like the video before you do anything else, like the video, and then share the video with as many people as you can. Send people out and tell them to come hang out with us. Now, I don't know how this works, so if you guys will bear with me for a second, I'm going to click on a button. And here we go. So I want to start this all the way back at the beginning. Let's pause the sound for a second. And then create a title. Test. And I'm going to hit create. Whoops, wrong button. All right. So I think what that's doing is it is making a video that is just only the actual podcast and not all the extra stuff. Bowser says, I think Buddy Pass will open up once the initial queues finish from launch, once things settle down a bit. I agree 100%, Bowser. And that's why they are not giving them to us the day one. Brian is still trying to decide on a Stadia name. I think you should go with Spiders from Jupiter. What do you think? Kodiak Moonwolf. Oh, that's good. I was just having a nose through the FAQ and found the below, which is good to see. People probably already know it, but I was unsure. What? I'm not sure what you mean, Matt. If you happen to lose connection, Stadia will maintain the game where it got cut off for several minutes so you can quickly get back online without losing progress. That's cool. All of the issues that I've ever had with streaming have been because of upload. I never have download issues with my internet. Should I use my Xbox Live gamer tag on Stadia? I don't know. Is that how people know you? If that's how people know you, then probably. I wonder how many games companies are waiting for a few platforms to come before jumping into cloud gaming so they can get a better deal, having the services bid for their content. I wouldn't, like, if I were in, I wouldn't do that. I would say if I were a game developer, I would want my content on all of the platforms. The more platforms you're on, the more customers can see your stuff, and it doesn't cost you anything extra to do that. Oh, let me try something. It didn't work. I love the music you play. Do you ever go to any heavy music shows? No, not really. Although I did interview somebody for 143 Pixels yesterday who basically makes heavy metal versions of old video game music. And I got his business card someplace here. Here we go. Viking Guitar Productions. There you go, right there. Viking Guitar. I interviewed him. We talked about a video game for 143 Pixels yesterday. What's your take on Activision saying they're interested in cloud gaming? I think that Activision is going to bring games to things like Stadia and xCloud and all of those other places. See you later, Matt. Thanks for hanging out, man. Do you think Stadia will allow users to play betas and alphas similar to Steam, or not allow devs to operate on Stadia this way? I honestly, I hope that they don't. I hope that they don't have early access, because I feel like early access has been abused on Steam like way too much. It's been abused a lot. I think you're misinterpreting what I said there, Cohen. I wasn't saying that there's no work, but it's not like they're reinventing the wheel to make it on Stadia. Ooh, Marco. That would be really good if we had a big sale right after the launch. Like, hey, everybody, Black Friday launch sale. Let's make sure that you have plenty of games to play on Stadia. I think that would be a good idea. It would garner a lot of interest. Jesse, not only is the okay, I guess I should read this because in case chat doesn't show up. But would you say the biggest advantage to Stadia over others starting cloud gaming streaming is Google's current infrastructure? That and their algorithms that create really good compression to send video in the smallest files possible. Oh no, Spider Show, that would be bad. If they had the Founders Edition back in stock, that would be so bad. That would tick off a lot of people. Because there'd be some people who feel like they missed out on the Founders Edition and they ended up buying the premium? I don't think it's premium. The one with the white controller, and they'd be like, "Oh man, come on, really?" Do I think demos will be available on Stadia Base? I don't see why not. The more look, demos are a good thing if you make a good game. If you have a crappy game, then a demo's a bad thing. But if you make a good game, then a demo will sell your game without a doubt. Now, it's easier to do on Stadia than it is anywhere else because they can say, "All right, here's your demo. You can use a state share to do this really cool Premiere Edition." Thank you, John. I couldn't remember. To do this really cool action sequence or something. You play through that, and then you're like, okay, that was awesome. I'm going to buy the game, and then you can start from the beginning. Google is poised to make the demo amazing again. Any predictions for when Stadia Base will launch? I'm guessing February 19th. That's just a guess, though. I don't have any more information than you do. See you later, Brian. Thanks for hanging out. Chat kind of slowed down, but we still got like hundreds of people here. Cloud gaming here to stay. Google sounds like a winner. I think cloud gaming is going to be massive. Are you going to stream later on Twitch today or not really? I have no idea. I have to take my niece to the movies later. She's going to go see something Christmas or something I don't know about. Her and a friend, I'm going to drop them off. So I may go back and walk on the treadmill again, get another hour in on the treadmill, or as I like to call it, the dreadmill, mostly because I want to watch more of that show. Raven is hyped for the 19th. I'm hyped for the 19th. All right, here's my question to you guys. All right. What games are you going to be buying day one? Like, of the games that are on Google Stadia, which ones will you be buying on day one? Let me know in chat. How do you feel about the no G Suite users? I don't think it really matters, Blake, because people can just make a new account. A lot of people want Guilt, Red Dead Redemption 2, Samurai Showdown. Vaxxer won't buy anything because Vaxxer is old school. Borderlands and Breakpoint. What is Breakpoint? I don't remember Breakpoint at all. What is that? Stadia games. Games. Breakpoint. I don't see Breakpoint on here. What is Breakpoint? Breakpoint, I mean. Austin says, I would get ESO if I knew more about the Stadia version. Austin, I assume that the Stadia version will be more like the console version. Oh, Ghost Recon. That's because I call it Ghost Recon and I don't really care about Ghost Recon. So Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the clarification. Jerome wants Orcs and Red Dead. Red Dead, Thumper, Cyberpunk, Baldur's Gate. I just want Baldur's Gate 3 to be a surprise release date drop. Oh my god. Blake, if that happens, I can't wait. I cannot wait for the next Baldur's Gate game. I think that's going to be fantastic. Are we getting character transfer from ESO like they did from PC to consoles? Austin, I have no idea. Bethesda and Stadia have been really, really quiet about this. So we really have no idea. I hope so. Isn't Baldur's Gate still heavily in development? I assume it is, Eric. I don't think we're going to be getting it at launch, but we really don't know what Larian Studios is up to. I'm also Alex. Is Stadia supporting cross-save on all games because they said they're trying to do that? The thing is, Alex, it's not really up to them. It's up to the publishers and the developers in order to build that in. I'm sure that Stadia has said, we're all for it. We don't know if they're going to do it. And they can't force publish. Well, I suppose they could force publishers to do that, but I don't think that they would. Uplay Plus is supposed to work. Then why are there single Stadia versions of the games promoted? I'm wondering if there will be a difference between Uplay Plus and buying on Stadia version. Well, Uplay Plus isn't coming until 2020. So we have to wait. What's test? Test is the... Shoot. I didn't think that would show up. Hold on. It's the portion of this podcast that was supposed to be... Let me hold on. Let me rename it. I don't know what to rename it. I'm gonna make it unlisted for now, or private. No, I'll make it unlisted for now because I want to see how it works first. Vaxer says, I see darkness. Vaxer, we all know that that's what you see all the time as a robot. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Oh, my wife is sending me a message. Okay. Can't wait to see what the next MMO and cloud gaming technology will do and what CCP and Remedy new studio will make as an MMO. Listen, you're talking to an MMO nut. I love MMO stuff. Bill, have you played Destiny 1? I have not played any Destiny, so I've just been waiting. I'm looking forward to playing it, though. I did go to install it on my PS4, and my PS4 didn't have room, and I didn't want to delete any of the games that I had, so I said, forget it. I just delete it. John Manus, think we'll ever see WoW or Diablo 4 on Stadia? I think we will. I think that just because it wasn't announced at BlizzCon does not mean it won't happen. Also, keep in mind, Diablo 4, they have specifically said it's going to be a long time before that launches. KGTV, will there be cross-platform play online? For some games, there will be. It depends on the publisher and what other platforms it's on. Hey there, Nordy. Have you seen the most recent Reddit leak regarding the pro game coming to Stadia called Worm Game? What do you think, it's real or fake? I don't know if it's real or fake. It could be real, but it also would be incredibly easy to fake that. Like, anybody could easily do that. You make a quick Photoshop of what it looks like, right? And then you cast that to your TV and take a picture of your TV. Bam, done. So I think it's not. I think it is definitely a good possibility of being fake. Bill, do you like the type of games like Destiny? Have you ever been interested in it? I don't know. I like MMOs. We'll see. It's free, so I can't complain. Final Fantasy 15 is coming to Stadia. I heard it's a very demanding game to run on PC. I never played it on PC. I played it on PS4. It was a gorgeous game. Eric makes a great point here. This platform is insanely developer-friendly, free hardware access to users, small variants in the type of hardware, and cloud DRM. Devs are going to be pushing this like crazy, and I completely agree. Bill, do you think they will add a yearly subscription for Stadia Pro? I know there's no official answer, but what's your opinion on that? I think it would be a mistake for them not to. That's my opinion, though. And you know what? I'll bet you that's going to be one of the most common questions on the AMA is, will we get a yearly plan? Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Dissenter 1976. I want Grid on day one. That and Destiny is fine on day one. Later, I want Orcs Must Die 3. I want Baldur's Gate 3, but not on Stadia. I want it on PC only, and therefore I can get it way cheaper. We'll see. It's going to be a new game. I don't think it's going to necessarily be way cheaper on Steam than it will in other places. Kyle FTW, we do not know when the app is going to come to iOS. I assume it's going to come before the 19th. There's a bunch of people here, and it would be awesome if you guys could like the video. And while we've got a little bit of a lull in chat, I just want to thank Joel, William, Fabian, Matt, Victor, Ryan, Johan, Klaus, William, Adam, and Matt for your super chats. It really does help the show when you guys do that. So thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. I appreciate every single one of you. Wonder if mobile gamers are going to give this a shot. Next year, without a doubt, it's free. Next year, it's free. Everybody's going to try it, especially if there's demos. Matt's Top Tech. Hey, Bill, what accessories do you like to see for the controller? Maybe a keyboard or mic mixer, etc. I mean, I definitely think that a keyboard would be good. but it's not really necessary, especially because most games are going to have voice chat, so keyboard's not super important. And if you've got a keyboard hooked up to your computer, then it doesn't really matter anyway. I don't think that accessories are super important. I did see somebody ask me, what are the top 10 make a video for the top 10 headphones for Google Stadia. I have one pair of headphones. I can't really make a top 10 headphones list without trying a bunch of headphones. And even these, I don't know how good they'll be for Stadia if I'm playing through the Chromecast. These would be great on my computer, but other than that, I don't know. No, it'd be fine on the Chromecast because it has, like, this has, where is it? Right there. It has a port for a headphone jack. So I can just use the headphone jack with it. Make a top 1 headphones vid. Hey, if you look at the fist bump guy right here, it looks like he's dancing to the music. It's perfect. It's perfect to the beat. I hope they activate the Bluetooth quickly so you can use the mic on the controller. Well, what do you mean, Nick? I don't understand. I want to know how many players can game per server. Queues will be a major factor. Bierk, I don't think that queues are going to be a major factor outside of the first few days, and then the first few days of Buddy Pass, and then the first few days of free. And outside of those times, I don't think it's going to be an issue. Bill, do you see the work game leak on Reddit this morning? Work game? You mean the worm game? Yeah, I saw it. I don't think it's a leak. I think it's probably fake. I think Nick is referring to the fact that the controller will not support Bluetooth headsets at the start. What does that have to do with the microphone, though? Because he said the microphone in the controller, I think. I can't find what he said, but... Bluetooth is trash for gaming? I don't know. You think online multiplayer will be only in the same country or region? That's a good question, Matt. And that would give us the best experience. If you want to play with people who are over in Europe or something and you're in the States, then you're going to have more lag than them. So I don't know. You would think that you would want to be playing in your region. Oh, I don't remember them saying that, Kilareth. I could be wrong, though. Joe, I do think there will be another Connect before launch, and if I were in charge, look, I don't know what they're going to do. But if it were me in charge of making a decision, then I would say the next Connect is going to be on November 19th, and it will end at the exact time when launch starts. And it would... Oh, and here's how it would end. Are you guys ready for this? Here's how I would end it. So we're watching the Connect. Excuse me. At the end of the Connect, they show us a game that has previously been unannounced. Nobody knows about it. And at the very end, there is a play now button, and you click and it takes you into the game for a demo. If you're a founder. Like, that would be pretty wild, huh? I need a job at Google. See, I'm good at ideas, but implementing things, that's not my strong suit. I think that would be very, very good for Google, though. Can they make something similar to plug into a PS4 controller to connect it to Stadia Blades? Well, look, they're going to support whatever HID compliant controller you plug into your computer or is hooked up to your computer will work for Stadia. Does that mean that it will connect through Wi-Fi? No. Is that important? I don't know. Maybe. The amount of lag that you're saving by having it directly connect through Wi-Fi, I'm going to guess is not nearly as much as people are making it out to be. But I could be wrong. I mean, I'm planning on playing using this. This is my controller for my PC. This is the one I plan on using. It's and it's going to be wireless. And we'll see how it goes. So you'll have all of my thoughts on that once in 9 days. Will Chromecast be wired or wireless? Wireless. Chromecast is wireless. You can't connect it via wired through for Chromecast. They did add support for the Nintendo Switch Pro controller. I understand that. The problem with that is the same problem with all Nintendo controllers when you're not playing on Nintendo, is that the A buttons and the B buttons are in the wrong spots. All right, so on I can't do this. You know, on a Nintendo controller, A is over here and B is down here, and on an Xbox, A is down here and B is up here. And so then you're playing a game and it's going to say, you know, press A, and you're going to be like, oh, well, which button am I supposed to press? Hopefully, instead of doing that, and I know that Google kind of talked about this a little bit, hopefully instead of doing that, they just show the 4 buttons and highlight the one that you should push. Oh, okay. Yes, I know the Chromecast has Ethernet. I thought you were talking about the controller. I thought you were like, how can you connect the controller to it? Not connect it to the internet. Yeah, Chromecast Ultra has Ethernet. It's in the power brick that goes on your wall, so you just plug the Ethernet in there. Birak, I get what you're saying. Typically, they allow you, when you're playing multiplayer games, they allow you to say, I want to be in with crossplay, or I don't want to. So, like, if I'm playing Rocket League allows me to say, nope, no crossplay for me. I just want to play with people who are on my platform. So I'll bet you that's going to be an option anyway. Eric says, I hate hackers. They ruin public servers and a lot of indie survival games. Yeah, I hate hackers. All systems need to standardize ABXY layouts, in my honest opinion. I agree with you, Random Noob, but what I would say is get rid of ABXY and just use colors. Or use the up, down, left, just the 4 buttons and highlight the one. Is there cross-platform on Red Dead Redemption 2? I have no idea. I'm not interested in Red Dead at all. I don't like Rockstar games. I don't like their games. I don't like the way that they control. I've never been a fan. Well, I haven't played Red Dead Redemption 2, but I don't like the way Rockstar Games control. I didn't like when I played Red Dead Redemption. I didn't like the way it controlled. It just felt wrong to me. When I played Grand Theft Auto, I didn't like the way it controlled. I don't like the way that they design their controls. They feel like you are. It feels like you are driving a car when you're making a person move. Eric is great. Colorblind people don't see everything in grayscale. I'm interested in story-driven games. People said controls in Red Dead Redemption 2 are bad. I am not surprised. Rockstar's bad at designing controls. It is almost here, Fenno. That's right. Nordy says, okay, if I'm playing a 2 to 4 player game and I only have one Stadia controller, can I use an Xbox controller? Not on a TV. On a TV, you're limited to the Chromecast and the Stadia controller, and that's it. If you're playing on a PC or a Chromebook or something, then yes. But what you could do is you could just have a Chromebook that has HDMI out and hook that up to your TV, and then play. I wonder if hold on. All right. So I'm going to be able to test that for you guys because I've got a Chromebook here. This is my Acer Chromebook 14 or whatever the heck it's called. And it has HDMI out right there. So I can hook this up to a TV and test it. And let me see if it has Bluetooth support. Shoot. I don't know the password. All right, I will have to check into this later. Because I have a crazy password that is generated from my from 1Password. So I had to type that in, and I don't know what it is right off the top of my head. Most Chromebooks have Bluetooth. Yeah, so I could probably pair a Bluetooth control, or I can just use this because it has a dongle. I can use this with it and hook it up and play it on any TV. There you go. Has anyone noticed the lack of Chromecast Ultras in stores? I don't really go to the stores very much. Florian Zoll, why did I buy a laptop that will end life after 6 years from start? Because it's cheap. It was like $120 or something. Baxter uses pen and paper. I love it. Do you think that Stadia might allow ports of games in the mobile Play Store, control styles permitting? I hope not. Most of those games aren't good. Most of those games are trash. Do you see Google attending E3, Bill, or just doing Connects around that time? Honestly, I think E3 is dying. I think it's like PlayStation didn't go there this year. Microsoft does their event, but they don't do it at E3. They do it near E3. It's just too expensive when you could easily put out the same information by posting a YouTube video. Have you seen the worms leak on 9 to 5 Google and Reddit? I did see that. I think there's a possibility that it's real, but I think that possibility is very, very slim. So I doubt it. You want the code already? You and me both, pal. I'm just going to check my email right now. I got an email that Tony is following me on Twitch. Thanks, Tony. That StadiaCast uploaded a video. Test. Weird game stuff. Nothing from Google, though. Co-Price says, I would love to see Death Stranding on Google Stadia, and I believe it will come next year. I'm not interested in that game, but I do hope it comes to Stadia for the people who want it. Do you think Google will eventually allow multiple displays for games, as in you're playing on a Chromecast, can you have a live game map on an iPad? I doubt it, Birak. I don't think it makes a lot of sense. So few people would take advantage of it that a lot of people would it just wouldn't get used very much. And so because developers know that it wouldn't get used very much, they probably wouldn't care enough to implement it. All right, guys, we're hitting the 2-hour mark. I want to thank you all for being here. Get your last. I'm going to be ending the stream in about 5 minutes, so get your last few questions in. Questions and comments. What do I think about Walmart and Amazon getting into cloud gaming? I think Amazon is poised to do cloud gaming 100%. They would be probably the best competitor with Google, in my opinion. But Walmart, I don't see them doing it the right way. I don't see them pulling it off. Especially after the nonsense where they're like, no, let's take all video games out of our stores that might show a gun, but we'll keep selling guns. Screw Walmart. What do I think about the Founders Badge? All right, the 3 little stars afterwards, I think it's fine. I don't really care. Like, I didn't get the Founders Edition because I wanted a Founders Badge. That's just me. Frawls, did I take a day off for the launch? Absolutely not. I'm an educator, and that's my job. My students need me. Do you think Microsoft is a good competitor for Stadia? I think Microsoft is not actually making something to compete with Stadia. I feel like Microsoft is doing something more along the lines of just giving you access to an Xbox when you don't have an Xbox. I don't think that that's really... I mean, yes, it's cloud gaming, but I think that what Stadia can do and what xCloud can do are wildly different, and we just can't see that yet. Have you convinced any of your students to purchase Stadia? When I'm at work, we're not talking about video games. We're talking about science. Eric makes a very good point. Microsoft is kind of tied their own hands behind their backs by focusing on hardware and cloud gaming, whereas Google would be like, they don't have hardware to sell, so they don't have to worry about that. That's a freeing thing. Amazon already hosts NVIDIA game service. That's true. That doesn't mean that Twitch won't become like a Twitch console. And thank you, Ashley. Could you talk? I could talk about the science in video games and hardware. No, I teach about astronomy, geology, and meteorology. Amazon has something in the works we just haven't heard yet. Well, I mean, they've tried to do stuff. Like, they made a game, and then there's this weird sports ball game where, like, you would attack people and you got to carry the ball. It looked super fun, and then they just folded on it. They said, nah, never mind. Tell us a random science fact. Okay. A random science fact. Well, first off, I don't like the term fact when it comes to science. Science is mutable and changeable. And when you realize that you've been mistaken about something, you have to say, oh, yeah, well, we screwed up, and this is the evidence for it. But there are 8 planets. Take that. And with that, I'm going to get out of here. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. I know I enjoyed having you here to talk to me. You're fantastic. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.